Good evening. My name is Carolyn Schoenberger, and I am thrilled to welcome you to Immigration Forum, hosted through the Chicago Legal Clinic. And as our special guest tonight, we have Dr. Sandy Goldberg. Hello.
Hi there, Carolyn.
And Sandy is the founder and the chairman of a Silver Lining Foundation, which pays for mammograms for uninsured and underinsured women. So we're going to be discussing about the fact that the services and the help that is done by a Silver Lining Foundation is available to you, and what the services are, and to immigrants and to people who don't have insurance or who are underinsured. But first, I'm going to, in the English language and then in the Spanish language, talk a little bit about the Chicago Legal Clinic. The Chicago Legal Clinic was founded in 1982 by two new lawyers, Bishop Thomas John Paprocki and Executive Director Ed Grossman. They were law students at DePaul and recognized there was a need for low-cost legal services in the south part of Chicago near the Indiana border. At one point in time, there were a lot of steel mills and people were employed, and they had money to spend in restaurants and to go to the movies and buy cars and furnitures. But as the steel mills closed, there was not enough money, and not only were people losing their jobs and their homes, but the businesses were also going out of business. So there was a need for legal services, and the Chicago Legal Clinic started with one-room legal services, and that was a while ago. Today, there are 4 neighborhood offices of the Chicago Legal Clinic: South Chicago, Pilsen, Austin, and downtown. There are 3 programs in the courts. One is for the child support program, one is for chancery and foreclosure, and there is a free legal clinic to students from Harold Washington College, where I'm also a professor. And we invite you, if you have any questions regarding child support, Social Security, disability, if you're a victim of domestic violence, have family law problems, particularly with custody issues, landlord-tenant, immigration, to contact the Chicago Legal Clinic between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And the number is 773-731-1762, 773-731-1762. Please contact us to arrange for a consultation so that we can assess your case and indicate what options you have. I also would remind people that there is no new immigration law. We are aware that there are people who are taking money for programs that do not exist, and would urge people, please be careful. It's not only about losing money. You may lose an opportunity to, at some point in the future, legally obtain a visa. So please be careful. Make sure that you're dealing with a licensed attorney, an accredited lay representative. You can find out about your attorney if there's ever been any disciplinary problems by going to the Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission. You can also find out if an agency is an accredited accredited lay representative status by going to usis.gov. I'm now going to repeat this in the Spanish language. Buenas tardes, me llamo Carolina Schoenberger. Quiero decirle un poco de la Clínica Legal de Chicago. La Clínica Legal de Chicago fue establecido en 1982 por 2 nuevos abogados que querían ayudar a la gente del sur de Chicago. Antes de 1982 había muchas acerías en el sur de Chicago, pero se cerraron las acerías y la gente que trabajaba en las acerías perdieron sus trabajos. También los negocios en el sur de Chicago sufrieron por la falta de clientes. En este barrio no había ninguna oficina legal ofreciendo ayuda legal a bajos costos. Entonces, los 2 abogados, Thomas John Paprocki y Eduardo Grossman, establecieron la Clínica Legal de Chicago en un solo cuarto. Actualmente hay 4 oficinas de la Clínica Legal en el sur de Chicago Pilsen, Austin y en el centro. También hay 3 oficinas en las Cortes que ofrecen ayuda legal gratuita a la gente con problemas de mantenimiento de los niños y foreclosure. Y también hay una oficina por los estudiantes de Harold Washington College que ofrece ayuda legal a los estudiantes y soy profesora allá. Si tiene un problema legal como inmigración, violencia doméstica, bienes raíces, seguro social, de incapacidad, testamentos, hay que llamar al número central de la Clínica Legal de Chicago el lunes hasta el viernes de las 9 de la mañana hasta las 5 de la tarde. Llame por favor a 773-731-1762, 773-731-1762. Y por favor recuerde, no hay ningún programa de inmigración. Hay de tener cuidado, en particular ahora con lo que está pasando afuera. La gente tiene derechos. Llámanos si quería conocer más. So with that, I want to thank you for watching and invite you to please call your questions regarding immigration or a Silver Lining Foundation and the wonderful programs that are offered by calling 312-738-1060, 312-738-1060. And in the event that you want, again, to have an assessment made of your legal case, please call 773-731-1762. So with that, again, I want to welcome Dr. Sandy Goldberg from a Silver Lining Foundation, the founder, as well as the person who chairs the entire organization. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It sounded very impressive, I have to tell you.
Well,
but you know something I was thinking about, and I was thinking about the parallels between what you were talking about in the immigrant community and what we do at a Silver Lining Foundation. And I would also invite your viewers, if that's all right, because you knew I was going to do this, if you have any questions concerning breast health testing, health in general, please feel free to call us at the number on your screen, and that's 312-738-1060. But I was thinking about the fact that you were telling people to really, really be careful, to not be taken in by an organization or individuals that are not going to be providing information or help for them. And that's something, frankly, that we see a lot, and especially in the immigrant communities, in terms of where is someone to go? What is someone to do? And then you hear all of these, I'm going to use a term that's going to make me unpopular, old wives' tales, all the myths around breast health testing.
Well, there are a lot of myths, and in every community, I think in the immigrant community in particular, people are a little bit more cautious and tentative. Right. So, frankly, people think they would make very good victims because they would be afraid to complain.
True, being afraid to complain and being afraid, I think, also to step forward and to ask for help. We ask very few questions at a Silver Lining Foundation. What we do basically, so you know, is that we have 5 programs all related to cancer and health and providing access really to breast health testing, all breast health testing, mammograms, that's sort of the walk in the door test, all follow-up diagnostic testing, diagnostics, ultrasounds, MRIs, some of these are, quite complex, and biopsies. And should, God forbid, someone be diagnosed with breast health or breast cancer, no one has to pay for anything because all of our partner hospitals will work with you to take care of you for free. But again, I think walking in the door many times, and we see this with everybody, but in particular in the immigrant communities, I know I have cancer. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's very, very important to see that you are in good health. And should you need additional testing, it will be provided. God forbid there is a diagnosis, that will be taken care of as well. But there are a lot of myths around this.
It is very difficult, and again, people many times are afraid to ask for help, or if they really feel something is wrong, they're afraid to follow up on it. And I think some of the programs, maybe if you can mention some of the hospitals that you work with,
Sure.
Because a lot of them are in communities where there are a lot of immigrants.
Right. In fact, many of our hospitals, almost all of our hospitals, are what we call safety net hospitals, who open their arms and their services and their programs to everyone, regardless of the ability to pay. In the Spanish-speaking community, as an example, Mount Sinai, St. Anthony, almost 100% of the people that come to St. Anthony through a Silver Lining Foundation and Mount Sinai were not born in this country. We have Swedish Covenant. There are a lot of Polish-speaking Ukrainian individuals, Eastern European individuals. On the south side, Advocate Christ Hospital. Again, just a broad base of people who were not born in this country. And I think also, Carolyn, what holds people back many times is what people are afraid they're going to be asked.
Absolutely. And there are still people who feel, unfortunately, there's a lot of rhetoric feeding into this, that if you are here without documents and someone finds out, you will immediately be put on a bus to be sent home or on a plane.
Right.
And of course, that is not true. There is something called due process. But I think people are afraid that if they go to a Silver Lining Foundation or a hospital and they're asked for a Social Security number and don't have one, they're afraid what may happen. But you don't ask those questions.
No, we don't. We ask very, very few questions. And for people who speak Spanish, I mean, I can limp along in Spanish, as you know, but we do have a bilingual person in our office every single day between the hours of 10 and 4. And the questions that we ask have to do with the individual and have to do more with your history. What we don't ask, we'll ask, did you have a mammogram before? Was everything okay? Is there a history of breast cancer in your family? How did you hear about us? Really quite innocuous questions, but for us are very important. What we do not ask, and I stress this, do not ask, is about financial circumstance, because we figured who would call a stranger for help if they didn't need to? That's number one. And number two, we don't ask about documentation. And I'll tell you why. As you know, my parents were immigrants. They felt very, very strongly about being able to live in this country. And I feel that people who come to this country, who go through what they have to go through to live here, to start a new language, a new lifestyle, we don't care. We always say everyone has two breasts. You're entitled to make sure that they're okay.
One of the other things that I noticed that people do in your office is when someone is diagnosed, they can talk to someone who has been there.
Right.
And I think that is so important that you're not alone.
I think certainly when somebody is diagnosed, because everyone in our office, and it's a small office with fabulous volunteers as well, in addition, is that everyone in our office is either a survivor themselves, has gone through the circumstances and the treatment around being diagnosed with breast cancer, or is a first-degree relative of a survivor. Let me tell you, if somebody says, I was just diagnosed with breast cancer, we know how that feels. And I think also people who have fears about the possibility of being diagnosed, we know what that's like too. We try very hard to walk everyone through the process. But also, Carolyn, our partner hospitals, all of them, have people on staff that are called patient navigators. And patient navigators walk one through the entire process, from walking in the door to explaining what the tests are about, to many times hand-holding, because I certainly need my hand held on occasion. You know, we all need that.
Absolutely.
But to be able to explain the process. But most important of all, if you were not born in this country, and reach out to us at a Silver Lining Foundation. May I provide that number?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. The number is 312-345-1322. Again, 312-345-1322. And you reach out to us. We are here to help. We don't ask a lot of questions because, quite frankly, all we want to do is be able to help. We try as well, and that's one of the reasons that we ask for addresses and phone numbers of people who call us, is that we want to try to get you to a hospital partner, one of our 15 partner hospitals, that is closer for you to be able to get to. We don't want anybody to have to take 3 buses and 2 trains. We don't want anyone, life is hard enough without having to go through that.
There's also hospitals outside of Cook County, such as Rockford.
Right. Rockford and Elgin and Des Plaines and Evanston. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Well,
so
I'm
if you're
very
not
proud of that.
if you don't live in the Chicago area, and we certainly hope that those of you who are listening will share this information with relatives and friends of yours who might be in areas outside of the Chicago area, is that we try to help everyone. We certainly have the partner hospitals, as Carolyn has mentioned, but also you live in Indiana, we'll help you. If you live anywhere, we'll help you as long as you can pick up the phone, call us, we'll take your information. What we do then is we send out a letter that serves as a voucher for your testing. And what we do, and what we think is very important, is that you, the person that calls Silver Lining, become the advocate and the scheduler for your testing. We don't say that you have to go here on a certain day and a certain time. We're respectful of the fact you work, perhaps. You have children, you have parents, you're a caregiver, your schedule doesn't permit you to go at a particular time. You will call, you will make the appointment for your breast health testing. So you are the advocate and you have the control over your scheduling. And that I feel is quite important. In terms of people who come from out of the state, again, you'll be issued a letter. That letter, in terms of testing, is good for a year. We ask that you make your appointment for your breast health testing in and of itself within 30 days. But if you need follow-up testing, if you need diagnostics, if you need a biopsy, if you need to come back in 6 months to make sure that you're okay, that letter, that one letter, serves as a voucher for a solid year. And of course, we stress annual mammograms. And that's something that you and I know in terms of the community now, or in terms of what's going on, in terms of press. There's all kinds of, shall we say, varying information about that.
There are different opinions about how often one needs a mammogram and up until what age it needs a mammogram. And some cancers are very quick growing. And should you wait for more than 1 year to get a mammogram?
No. I get asked this question all the time. With everything that people are reading in the newspaper and hearing in the media, do I really need to get an annual mammogram? Yes, you do. And what is the proper age? I hear this. Sometimes on the media you'll hear 50, sometimes you'll hear 40. Who and what are you to believe? Let me tell you, the basics, the old-time basics, remain the same. First mammogram, age 40. The exception, if a first-degree relative to you, mother, sister, grandmother, aunt, on either side of your family. People think that breast cancer comes from only the mother side of the family. No, it does not. So say a first-degree relative of yours was diagnosed at age 45. Your first test should be at age 35. Do breast self-examinations, extremely important. And if you feel something that doesn't feel right, that's when you have to advocate for yourself. That's when you have to pick up the phone. And also, we have seen instances, as you well know, of young women, quite young women, who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Most recently, someone who's 26.
26.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And you provide help. You go to various schools and other organizations to talk about self-exams.
Right, we do. We have a program that started off, frankly, for young women ages 15 through 19. It's called Keep Abreast. I think that's a very snappy title. And what that program started off, and still does, in its basic, in its foundation, is that our people go into schools, treatment centers, community affairs, health fairs, wherever we're invited, and we talk to young women ages, say, 15 through 19 about being advocates for their own breast health. We teach how to do a proper breast self-exam. We have a video with real people, not clouds or stick figures. We have basically breast models that have lumps in them, see whether or not they can be identified. And so young women, who many times are much more verbal and more activist sometimes than their elders, will really take this information and run with it. And our hope was, and has turned out to be quite successfully, is the fact that these young people are going home and saying, Ma, Grandma, Aunt, neighbor, have you had a mammogram yet? And we've gotten a lot of calls in response to the young people basically acting as our educational and cultural conduits. And that has worked so well, frankly, my apologies for keeping raving on here.
No, but it's a great program, and people do need to know about this. I wanted to mention your Buy Mama mammogram.
Oh, yes. Well, that's basically our mammography program. We named it Buy a Mom a Mammogram. But what that means is that is the overarching umbrella name for our breast health testing program. You don't have to be a mom. You don't have to buy anything. Frankly, we just like the title. But going back again to the educational piece, is that we also now have Keep a Breast programs for adult women who want to know more about basically breast health testing, have a lot of questions. The myths that I refer to: no deodorant will not cause you to have breast cancer. No, an underwire bra will not cause you to have breast cancer. We deal with issues like that. And we've also had some really spectacular events in which mothers and daughters have come together for the Keep a Breast program.
Well, it's phenomenal. And if you could tell people again what the number is, and I'm assuming the hours are 9 to 5?
Numbers are, and that again is another question that I love. Our number, when the office, theoretically speaking, is open, and I'll explain the word theoretically in a minute, is somewhere around 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday. That number is 312-345-1322. Again, 312-345-1322. However, after hours, the office phone is forwarded either to my cell or to Kathy Smith of our office. So if you have a question after hours, if you have a concern, and Carolyn, people are really very nice about it. Nobody calls at 3 o'clock in the morning and says, I need a mammogram, or at least they haven't thus far. But there are people that sometimes have concerns. They can't talk during the course of the day. Can't take time off from work to pick up the phone. So we are always there to answer your questions and your concerns. But if you're going to sign up for a mammogram, especially if you speak Spanish, and again, I can limp through, your best bet is to call our office between the hours of 9 and 4. And if you would like us to come out and address your organization, your school, your community event, if you'd like us to come out and basically sign women and men, because men can get breast cancer as well, at a community event, we would be more than delighted to do that. Just please call that number.
Okay, let's give the number one more time.
I'd be delighted to.
Okay.
312-345-1322. And if you'd like to look up a Silver Lining Foundation on the internet and see what we do, because, Carolyn, many women who come to us have basically Googled free mammogram Chicago, and that's how they got to us. So our email, or rather our web, is silverliningfoundation.org. Again, and don't forget the A, silverliningfoundation.org.
Well, I really want to thank you for your wonderful work, for coming on the show and giving such wonderful information. Again, I urge people to take advantage of the different programs. And I also, again, want to stress that if you have a legal problem, particularly my interest is, the name of the program is Immigration Forum, Immigration Issues, please contact the Chicago Legal Clinic. Your question could be about a Social Security disability case, could be about domestic violence, could be a landlord-tenant case, it could be about a guardianship, wills, and we are strongly recommending that whoever you are, you should have a will. To please contact the Chicago Legal Clinic Monday through Friday between the hours of 9 and 5, and the number is 773-731-1762. We also have a very active program. We will go and give presentations in the evening on weekends. So if you would like a presentation on a particular topic, please contact 773-731-1762. I would like to remind you that we will be again on CAN TV 1 month from today, August 20th. At the hour of 6:30, we will have a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. But again, I would like to thank Dr. Sandy Goldberg for coming on the show, and thank you. We will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, call. Thank you.